Okay, so welcome back. I hope you feel okay from the practice. Um, so that Hatha Vinyasa is the first week. So really enjoy the sweat and enjoy the movement now. Because I know that maybe in the beginning it's like, oh my God. But then after that, it's all restorative kind of thing. Or we have partner yoga as well. But this is going to be like, the most like kind of physical. This Hatha Vinyasa sequence, you can make really beginner when you do more child's pose and more easy variations. But we call this multi-level because you see I can tone it up or I can tone it down, right? I can give more arm balance, more advanced asanas, or not, right? I can put more push-ups or not. So that's going to be up to the level of the students. So just a little bit of a side note, I do want you to start kind of like, taking a look on the sequence. You have that as well at home or the Dropbox. And on the back of the sequence, on the back of the manual, you have the whole sequence in minis, but you also have, you see, you have in minis, but you have like, look guys, pose by pose, word by word. So I will recommend you to kind of read that because it has a lot of wording. But before we move with the sequence in itself, has a few components. That's what we're going to talk about right now, which is this components for the practice. And this was on section 1 from your manual on page 9. I don't know if I have the same numbers of the page. Oh, good. So let's talk about what is the components that we're using to actually practice what we just did with practice. Yeah? So this is when you can take notes, you can do whatever. You can write a book, you can have a notebook apart to take notes, whatever you feel that is comfortable. I personally like to have a notebook just for my notes, and usually I did trainings 10 years ago, and sometimes I read that again, It's good to have. But, okay, so the first part of practicing that you're familiar with it is the asana, right? So when we talk about asana, immediately is referring to body postures, right? We're doing postures with the body. The translation of asana is to sit, sit near, sit. That's really like just a detail of the whole, yoga philosophy. We're going to be referring a lot to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. This is philosophy class, but I also need to already introduce because the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is the manual for enlightenment. Like if you want to become an enlightened, awakened human, this is the book. And you can see that it's not that big, but it's very profound, very profound. Actually, it's a psychological book because yoga is to understand who am I? Beyond all this look like. So we're going to be studying this book on history and philosophy, but from the whole book, which is the system of yoga, the Ashtanga yoga is here, we only found one sutra or one sloka for asana practice, and this is the one that I just chant, and it says Sthiram Sukham Asana. So it's right there. So Sthiram means stable or comfortable, and Sukham means ease, without struggles, and asana is the posture. So how is the asana supposed to be in the practice? Sthira, Sukhan, Asana. So when we comes to the asana practice, we want to find, so the asana needs to be like this. The asana needs to kind of sit on your body, And in the beginning of yoga, again, when we go to history and to understand how do we got until this point, kind of modern yoga, in the period of Vedanta and Upanishads, the only asanas that they are referring to are for meditation asanas. Okay? So this is Sukhasana, Ardha Padmasana, half lotus, Padmasana, Virasana, okay, and one that is classic is Siddhasana. You bring your ankle close to your private part, the other covering. That was it. And that was all asanas for meditation. And the idea of yoga is to enter this unification with this divine principle through meditation. But if you cannot sit for a long period of time, if you sit and then you have pain on your back, agitate mind, basically your back is weak. All of a sudden it's just like, oh, it's heavy, Again, we're not used to this life. In India, everyone, they eat on the floor, in a banana leaf. So everything is a much different lifestyle, so then you get used to it. But here, no, we have the car, we have the couch, we have the dining room, and so we lose a little bit of the natural movements. And then when you want to practice meditation, cannot happen. After 15 minutes, the mind goes, I have pain on my knee. The mind goes, I have pain on my back. The mind goes, blah, blah, blah. Then no more meditation. You can't be at ease, at peace. So, the whole yoga system, like we have a Sujasta sequence, that posture from another enlightened master, his name is Dharma Mitra, he's in New York. He did this poster like, I don't know, 20 years ago. That's like 1,000 asanas. All asanas of any lineage and any system are basically, the idea is to kind of like grind your body, stretch your body so you can come here. This is the most advanced asana. This is the most advanced asana. So when we, even now with Instagram, we see all these acrobatic yogis and doing crazy. Yesterday, even my teacher posted one of these Chinese girls doing handstand with a scorpion with the toes inside her navel. Like, wow. Amazing, Of course, this is very admirable. You need to have a type of body constitution, and you need to have a lot of practice. And it's beautiful to see. And it is that it doesn't mean that that you have or not have a good practice. But we also have seen yogis that they do have acrobatic asanas, postures, type of bodies, but they're not yogis. They just have a very incredible physical practice, but they cannot still meditate, or they cannot practice non-violence, which is also base of the first yoga rule, or is what we're going to be seeing in the practice. So all those asanas that we're going to be doing, opening, twisting, stretching, is so we can arrive here and be okay, not be agitated, not be with pain, So, Stira Sukhan Asana. My connection with the earth should be stable, should be grounded. My relationships, right, should be at ease. The relationship that I have with the earth, the relationship that I have with my body, the relationship that I have with other people. Because otherwise, no peace, no meditation, you're fighting with everyone, frictions. So, Sukhan means without suffering. This is the most important posture in yoga. We want to practice yoga not to go to Cirque du Soleil and become show off of a yoga show, but to be at Sukha, to be without suffering. So the idea of asana, and that's why these enlightened yogis, they create more and more asanas, was to be without disease, without pain, So that's the whole point. That's why anyone can practice yoga. You don't need to be flexible. You need to be healthy. You need to be comfortable on your seat without anxiety. Practicing contentment, practicing concentration, and eventually meditation. If you are always uncomfortable, in pain, so we have obstacles for enlightenment. One is ignorance, but the other is disease. Like if you have disease, you're not going to have any spiritual practice because you can't. You just focus on feeling better, So we need to understand, but you need to understand, because you're going to be teaching people this system. So how does that reflect in our practical mat? Okay, so Stira Sukhan Asana. I need to be at ease and joy with my surrounding, with my environment. Like I gotta be at ease if I'm in Manhattan. I gotta be at ease if I'm in the jungle in Amazon. I gotta be at ease to be with me. I gotta be at ease to be with others. And in the yoga mat, it will be taking the student and yourself on your own practice at your own levels, gradually. I personally receive new asanas each 2-3 years, like a gift. Actually, that happened. Out of the sudden, like, whoops, look what happened. Like, book, like a flower just happened. But so if you have someone that are trying to do this, actually this is Marichyasana A, right? And you can see like in their face, they are not peaceful. They're looking like, I can get it, see, I can, yoga is so good, so peaceful. And all this competition, I see this every day, now with you guys, but it's very common, especially when you have advanced practitioners. All of a sudden you have a girl from ballet here, super gumbly, super flexible, next to a CrossFit guy. Definitely is going to be competition. Definitely. The ego will be, but you need to catch this and you need to control the energy and talk about this. Don't compete. Everyone is unique. Everyone is different. Focus on your own self-development, because the guy is just not doing any yoga here. He is completely stressed out. So this is when we bring down a niche, we bring down a level. Here is a belt. Una cinta, then you feel more not in pain. Because the moment that becomes a struggle, you lose the sukha. you will lose the ease. Now it's like, oh, look what I'm doing. It's pure competition, right? And it's no more that, again, that serenity, now it's like a struggle. So and it's very funny, because whatever happens on the yoga mat is a mirror reflection of your life, So if you are fighting in the mat, you're going to struggle with relationships. You're going to, when you make the relationship work, you insist on friendships that are not being reciprocated to you. Why are you trying to maintain a relationship, a loving relationship with someone that is not in love with you, or is not being the same level? So it kind of like, it relates to it, right? So if you understand, so what is this teaching us? This is teaching us to be more humble, more humilde, more humble, more loving, and also be, at the same time, be grateful, because what I was trying to tell today, like if you have 2 legs and 2 arms, man, you're good. You're good. Some people are in wheelchair for like whole life, or even worse, in the middle of life, wheelchair, and can never walk again. And again, those are the ones that you don't hear complaining, So in that way, you need to accept your body as it is, because it has 2 things that we're talking about here. One is the concept of non-harming, non-violence that we were talking about. Diet. Why I'm going to force my body to do a nod, a contortionist asana, my body's like, oh, this is crazy. What are we doing this? It's like, it's painful. So that again is the ego. The ego is the one who wants to compete. So that's, we don't need that, because again, this is the most advanced asana. So it doesn't matter if you can get the nod, if you don't can get the nod, it doesn't really matter. And the other thing is that you're going to start learning adjustments. So we have 2 type of levels when it comes to anatomy, in a way. Like we have guys, for example, they came to start practicing, and when they were sitting, their knees were here, and they were like something like that, like very stiff, So if you come and you kind of like push the knees a little, not the knees exactly, but the legs, and you see that it's like giving in, como hay a little movement, that means that it's muscular tendon and ligaments. Now, tendons and ligaments, they stretch very little, but they can stretch. And muscle, they can definitely stretch, right? So now you know that you have a little bit of room there. With years, like guys that came here, after 3 years they were here, after 5 years of practicing almost every day, the sadhana, right? Here, after 10, 12 years, here. So that's why yoga is not a quick pill. You really need to it's a long life practice, So then you can definitely modify your body and all that. But then if you come and you're trying to, and it's like, it's like cement, it's like a rock, it's like the wall, don't even worry. That means that it's bone on bone, rock on rock. So that's it. No matter if you practice 30 years, it's just not going to happen. And you need to be okay with that, and you need to be at peace with it, and that's it, And that's what it is. We have some students that they have open back, like out of the sudden they don't practice never, they come and I can make them sandwich, bring feet on head, no problem. You know, for me to get there today, I need to practice like, I don't know, 5 hours every day, maybe, because, you know, getting older, that's another thing that we need to understand. As you get older, you're going to start losing some of these asanas. And again, no one is the same. Like, you have different sizes of the femur head on your hip bone, you know? And if the head is too big, then you will have more open or less open of your pelvis. So what are you going to do? You're going to pull the femur out, polish the head, and put it back in? No. You just need to accept that that's the body that you got this life, and that's fine. And again, if the person has some, you know, maybe they're not so open on certain parts of their body, they can always kind of focus on the ones that they can do. Because look, we have thousands of asanas. Like, if you cannot do, you know, they have this Marityasana D that you bind. If you cannot do that, well, do another one. You know, do another one that is Sthira Sukhanasana, that you can feel at ease. You need to practice meditation inside the asanas. You know, you need to think about praying inside the asanas. So I can be in the asana thinking, oh my God, this is so hard. When is this over? Is it 5 breaths yet? I need to be thinking, I'm detoxing of my anger, I'm purifying my body to be a vessel of the light. And you need to be fully on. And if you are in suffering, if you're in pain, that's not going to happen. So now you're doing just physical asanas, physical yoga, you're not doing real yoga, because your mind is just somewhere else, you know, when this is over and like that. So you need to watch your practice and gradually bring yourself every certain period of time, if you practice constantly. Because that's the other thing. That's why we insist all yoga systems about the sadhana. We have something in anatomy called fascia, which is like, you know, if you ever see a dead chicken, they have that white, greasy skin, and that is growing on us at night. Cuando te dormís, this goes all over the body. That's why it's like a web, you know, it's like this greasy web. And the fascia, more deep, is holding the organs in place, is wrapping each fiber of muscle, and then the whole group of muscles. Like, fascia is everywhere, you know, that's what is around the body. So when you wake up, you got break that web that grow. But what happened if you practice today and then for 3 days you don't? You're back to zero. You understand? That's why people get years and years of practicing yoga and they're still beginners. You know, no matter if you practice 10 years, but if you don't real practice, you practice sometimes, then you will take so many years to develop, because you know, the moment that you got some progress, you develop, you open your muscle, you open your tendon, and then something happened that took you off your practice, and now you didn't practice for 5 days, but you just lost that week. So it's like you never progress, you know? So that's why, again, the daily practice, you know, no matter if you have, just move your body, you know? And so you want to slowly, progressively allow the body to open, especially the tendons and ligaments, because those are much more stiff. They are made of collagen. They don't have such flexibility. And so you gotta be really warm and slowly open them. But the point of the asana talk is for you to understand, and you can also write this down because this is a good quote, is note asana equals to enlightenment. No? There's no asana that makes you a yogi. No, we got mesmerized when we see that super fit girls and guys. I mean, I had a friend, and here we had I actually fired this guy. He was an Ashtanga Vinyasa teacher. I mean, he had 8-pack. I don't even know. All the girls dropping like dead flies around him. He was super charming, super handsome. He was doing handstands with fingers. And he was an amazing practitioner. And he also was having sex with all the students and drinking every weekend and other things. So when I look at his thing, I will be like, wow, what an incredible yogi, right? Amazing. He was an asshole. He did not have compassion, ethics, you know. So it's no asana that makes you a yogi, you know, because again, all the yoga system is to arrive here. So it doesn't matter if you can do handstands or no handstands, you know, the most important is to be free of suffering, to promote happiness, peace, right? And to understand that this is a gradual, long life process that doesn't happen overnight, that if you want to practice, you want to walk this path, it does take, you know, time to feel the development and all that. But basically that is about asana, you know? It's really the tip of iceberg. Most of schools are asana based. I know because I go everywhere, I know all the teachers, I know everyone that owns a yoga school, and it's, you know, it's the CrossFit yoga, you know? Power yoga, go, 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 and maybe a little bit of, maybe a no, hopefully.
What was the sentence you were saying? No asana equals?
No asana equals enlightenment, or no asana is equals yoga, because you can do all the Olympic system and have no integrity, you see? So the yoga is it's much more than that. It's not just physical, you know? So let's just understand that very well, because a lot of people will tell you, I'm not going to yoga because I'm not flexible. Oh my God, that's like, everyone says the same, you know? It doesn't have nothing to do with your body. You know, it's just a little detail, like you want to practice unification of your, you know, of your being. And yeah, you need to be free of suffering, free of disease. That's the goal of asana. The asana is to keep your body strong, your body flexible, without injury, without pain. And then you can do more advanced practices, more intellectual advanced practices. So, yeah, so you will need to learn levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. Use a belt, use a block, and teach compassion, teach the concept of non-violence. You don't need to force your body into a posture. When you come to adjustments, you need to communicate really well. Can I you know, ask for consent? Can I go for more? How does that feel? You want to go more? You want to go less? More, less? Let me know. Because, you know, I don't know. And so very respectful in that way. But so this is the idea of asana, you know? Asana needs to bring us to meditation. So now, for me, after so many years of practicing, my asanas, they come very relatively easy, I will say. You know, I can really do some weird stuff. I have zero interest on asana at this point of my practice. So it's even harder for me to practice now, because I just want to meditate. You know, I just want to meditate and chant mantras. So, you know, and I also respect my flow, like, okay, maybe that's what I need to do. And so, yeah, I force myself to practice because, of course, I still live in the body. I'm now 44, even though I look younger. But I gotta keep the body, you know, functional and strong to, you know, for you guys as well. But, you know, as you age, you will see your, you know, your practice will change. You know, in the beginning, I was like very strong. I'm still strong, but more strong, more tapas, more sweat. Now I'm like, that's silly. I just want to breathe, meditate, and become one with the sun, you know? Of course, you can also do that on the yoga mat during the practice, but in the beginning, you know, it's hard because you have, now we're going to see, you have the asana, then you need to have a good alignment because that's the other thing. You see people like grabbing the foot and then they're all like crooked, completely wrong posture, you know? And so it's better to do a little bit less, right? Remember my bandhas. Remember that Tantra yoga of energy locks. Remember the breath. I'm here holding, I lost my breath, I lost my prayer. I'm looking, I mean, I gotta do my toenails, you know? It's so common, right? So common. So the asana is a tool to get to meditation. It has so many components into that. So we don't need to do fully expression. You know, maybe this year you're here. After 3 years you're here. After 8 years you're here. And then, you know, after so long, then you don't even need to do so much asana. You really just go straight to meditation, you know, like that. So, you know, practice this for yourself. Try not to rush into show the last level of the asana externally, but really explore the internal parts of the sensations. What is this asana doing for you? Where do you feel? Are you doing correct alignment? Because how are you going to feel the open heart or your nervous system getting polished when you all wrong posture? You know, if I do this, now immediately my mind gets more clear because all my nerves are being like, are being correctly influenced, right? And again, so once you learn this for yourself, then it will be easier to tell other people, you know, do less, don't compete. Yoga is a long life journey. Oh, I was just like you in the beginning. Don't worry, it comes with time. The most important is a peaceful breath. Don't sacrifice the breath for the physical, right? So this is very important because we are all the time competing. We are in a market of competition. Who has the best car, the best clothes, the bigger house, the bigger abs, blah, 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 blah. Todo el tiempo is like, it's draining as well. So we need to break that patterns and we have this space. That's why I tell students, if you need to rest, rest. If you want to take child's pose, pigeon, want to still stay longer, rest. Who cares? Enjoy yourself. Be there with that moment. That's your moment, you know. And if you want to develop yourself and do advanced asanas, we'll have the opportunity to do them here. And I also encourage you to do that without breaking the law of non-violence. So that's the line there. You know, if you want to try arm balances and more acrobatic asanas, that's okay because they also make influence on your centers of energy. They're detoxing your organs as you twist, as you contortionist yourself, but not at the point that it will cause you pain. So that's the limit. You go as far as getting out of your comfort zone when you feel like I cannot do any more push-ups. Yes, you can. Actually, you can. Actually, you did. Look, you just did. You know? So we want to go over the comfort zone, but without, being injured. So that's going to be up to you. You need to be very aware. Now, I think I'm going to snap something. Okay, rest. Right? Tienes que estar bien atento. Okay, then the next one is Dristi. Dristi is the point of focus, the point of gaze. I also mentioned that in class. And it's always going to be to narrow your concentration, right? And the Dristi can be your fingers, your toes, your belly button. One that is very nice and sweet is like the point of your nose. Like you keep your eyes half open, 30% como la mitad, and everything gets foggy. You just see that one point. And that's going to help to narrow down, right? We have a lot of students that have trouble closing their eyes. Either they are loaded up on coffee or they have anxiety, Maybe they have, we don't know, we can't assume anything, right? Maybe they have experienced some trauma and they are afraid to close their eyes for some reason. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. So you don't know, but you can say things like, well, I had a student that in pranayama exercise, she keeps her eyes open. So I was like, you need to try to close your eyes. And this is a safe space. Nothing's going to happen. When you close your eyes, you bring the energy inside. When you open your eyes, the energy is out. And in yoga, we want to build our energy up for us. So with my present teacher, Andrea Lapa, we practice the whole class with eyes closed. We only look the models. Usually I am one of the models, and they look at me to see how it looks like, and then they close their eyes. Así como se ve la postura, muy bien, después cierran los ojos. Now, in balancing poses, it's very hard to keep your eyes closed. Like, I cannot do it. In three poses, eyes closed, it's very hard. But then you can look at the point of your nose, right? And then sometimes in Ashtanga Vinyasa is the fingers. Sometimes, right, it can be my toes. Everything else foggy, just that, right? But it's something about when you start looking around, then is the ego. You are in ego mode. So you just need to be aware. Because what the eyes are doing, nice leggings, where did you got it? Oh, I wonder if I can do my thing like her hair. And, oh, so handsome guy. Oh, you're not praying. You're not doing yoga. Estás ahí vagando. You're like all over the place. Because your eyes are desiring things. So that's why Dristi is bringing the focus within. Like withdraw your attention in. So it's a technique. That's why doing Warrior One is easier. But can you do bandhas in Warrior One? Can you hear your breaths? Can you look to one point? And it becomes more intense. The next one is the quality of the breath. So, the first breathing here is Ujjayi. Ujjayi translates also to victorious breath. That goes on your reading test, by the way. I will tell you all the questions and all the answers of your reading test. So maybe you find a page in the end of your book and put questions for a test. and Ujjayi breath will be there, you know. So, and you will need to say yes. It's called victorious breath. And why victorious? Because it helps us to bring the mind again in, you know. It's like overcoming the ego, victory over the ego. Está escrito en la página 10 on qualities of the breath. So in Hatha Yoga, there's a specific way of breathing called Ujjayi Pranayama. Guys, these chapters, I'm just like explaining them, but when you get home tonight, you can read them, okay? Whatever topic we see on the manual, when you get home, you can read them. It's only like 2 pages, 3 pages, so it's not too much, but that's going to help. So Ujjayi Pranayama is the first pranayama exercises that we practice. Is basically a sound breathing. The breath goes through the back of the throat on a tube called trachea, and it's almost like humming. So let's give it a try. So let's pretend that we're going to fog a mirror with your mouth open. No? Like in breathing. So the same with the mouth closed. That is the sound. See? And we say sometimes, you gotta, when you teach, you need to give analogies. É como is like the sound of the ocean.
The best one is here.
Huh?
The best one is in the description here.
What does it say?
Darth Vader was a master.
Ah, yeah. You will remember that. There you go. It's a ronquido. Yeah, the sound of the ocean may be more.
Yeah, it's a little bit more aligned to what we're doing here. Yeah.
Sound of the ocean. Sometimes I say the sound of the wind on the leaves. I mean, this Ujjayi sound you can really hear everywhere. You know, it's like this vibration sound. But has something very important that you need to write this down. So when you are doing humming, you know, sometimes we do mantra practice or singing or just like como snoring, como like just do like M like this. You feel something shaking back here? That is going to influence, right, this on something called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is responsible to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, PNS. Now you will have an anatomy class. I am not an anatomy teacher, but we'll have, she's much better than me on that. She will go over all this with you. But basically the parasympathetic nervous system, PNS, is responsible for your rest and relaxation, or in other words, for your immune system. So when you make this vibration sound with your breath or with mantra, right, you will get that nerve activate, and automatically your body will go in the mode of restore, of healing. The other, so since we are talking about this, the other is the sympathetic nervous system, and that is the flight or fight. So if you had trauma, you know, hello. Sometimes you are already like responsive, like I'm ready to like, should I protect myself or should I fight you? You know, when we are running around, when you're multitasking, you're driving, here and there appointments. You are go, 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 go. That is the sympathetic nervous system, which is making you move quick, act fast. You are moving. Now the parasympathetic nervous system is like calm down, stop. This is when we recharge. Now no one can heal on the go, 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 go. You need to relax to heal. And you are going to be wellness advocate. You know, you can call yourself even a health coach with this certificate. People are making $500 an hour with that. I mean, I feel it's a little bit too much, but you know, I don't know.
I am.
Whatever is that. I mean, you know, hey, whatever, sky's the limit. But that's like real income, you know. So you need to facilitate people to come into a state of wellness sooner than later. So this about the ujjayi, that sound breathing, repeating mantras, sacred vibrations, that is going to activate the vagus nerves, that is activating the PNS, which is activating your immune system, the ability to restore and to relax, charge. So it's very important. So just you know, that's why you want to incentivize this, the breath sound. And I usually, if you don't chant the mantras, I will throw a block on your head. No, I'm kidding. But the other day, I had one of my past grads, and she was not doing that. And I had a conversation with her after class. I'm like, what is the reason? Now I wouldn't know. Yeah, it can be a religious thing, you know. Maybe she's not allowed on her religion side. That's understandable. I just wanted to know, really, because at the end of the day, it's just a vibration. And if she doesn't do it, she doesn't get the benefit. You know, so it has a reason why we're doing things the way that we're doing. That's why we're doing the training as well. So Ujjayi Pranayama is the first pranayama that you want to conquer, that you want to feel comfortable with, and then you're going to teach. Now, it doesn't need to be such a loud breath that is going to make your friend next to you uncomfortable, because that's another thing too. I have students that they're like, I'm like, what are you doing? It sounds like something different to me. It's too much. They're over-exaggerating, right? They're over-expressing themselves. It needs to be a sound, but at the same time, discreet, that it doesn't bother my neighbor, because then I'm crossing borders, right? That's his space, this is my space, right? We need to be respectful and aware that, you know, of the other person. So it's just a discreet sound, a sound that you can hear. That sound that is going to pull the thoughts of your head. You cannot produce thoughts and think at the same time. How is the sound of my breath? How is the length of my breath? No puedes estar en las dos. It's either or. So you are thinking about, overthinking actually, about things. What I'm going to have for lunch, or where I park my car, okay, what time is it, blah, 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 blah. Non-ending conversation. Or you can ask yourself, listen to my breath, listen to the sound. Stretch the breath, stretch the sound. That is a technique of listening to your breath. Some styles don't use any music at all. because the idea is for you to use your own breath as music. You know, because if I put, well, today was just mantras, the other day I put Pink Floyd, I don't know, it was a crazy day, but you know, if I put too much of a distraction outside, then again, it cannot, you know, maybe it become an obstacle for you to listen to yourself, to your thoughts, to your emotions, to who you are. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And well, so that's the most important, really. And another one that I think you kind of should know by now is the vinyasa. The vinyasa means moving with the breath, like this, like inhale, arms up, exhale, arms down. You are linking the breath with the movement. So those are the components of the practice that we did this morning, that you're going to do it tomorrow, and then you're going to be teaching. The components of the practice. Asana, non-violence, respectful way, concentration of the mind, drishti, gazing to one point, using the breath has the music, has the mantra to push the thoughts away. We have millions of thoughts an hour. It's too much. So if you can think less, you will have more clarity of mind. You will have more peace. And that sound of the breath, that ujjayi, is going to help with that. And then the vinyasa just makes your practice like a dance, like an active meditation, right? Inhale, you move. Exhale, you move. Very fluid, very beautiful. But it's not rigid, you know? Okay. And next that I would like to maybe just briefly, because again, almost one, is about what is yoga. You know, I'm assuming that entering the training, you already know what is yoga, right? But usually we gotta recap. And this is another question of your test. So you will have two questions. One is what the word yoga means. And then what is the definition of yoga? So it's like two questions separate. So let's start with the first one. Yoga comes from the root word yug in Sanskrit, which means yoke. So yoga means union. That is the most common translation. Yoga means union. Yoga means connection. Yoga means unification. That is the literal meaning of the word yoga. And if you want to read more about this, it will be on Yoga Philosophy on the first page. Okay, so you know you can read it later tonight. So again, yoga, yug, yoke, union. Good. Okay, yoga means union. So union with what? So if yoga means union, so if yoga means being unified, if we practice yoga to become unified, it's because we are not unified. That's why we practice yoga, to become unified. So that means that we are not unified, that we are fragmented, that we are separated. So usually we have 5, we're going to study this also in philosophy, we have 5 layers. We have 3 bodies, right? Physical body, subtle body, emotional body, the mind, the intellect, then we have the soul body. So we have all these kind of layers within ourselves. And sometimes you want to train, you want to practice, and then your mind says, yeah, let's go. And then your body says, like, no, let's just stay here. It's so comfortable right now. Why do we not aware? And then your ego, your emotions says like, well, just go for a little bit. No, all these conversations, you're like, how many people is in there? Right? Has it happened with you? It happens with me quite often. Now less and less, because we're peeling the layers. But it's a thing. It's like I'm crazy now. So we want to unify all these different entities, bodies, layers, and become a holy being, right? So if someone asks me, so what is yoga? A very easy way to say it would be, well, yoga means union. Okay. With what? With what? Yes. Yeah. So one of the answers can be yoga is, and you can also write this because again it will be question. You can write yoga is unification of your inner self with the higher self. Yoga is the unification of the inner self with the higher self. Yoga is unification of the microcosmos with the macrocosmos. You have a universe inside yourself with different systems, cells and armies, and it's incredible. Actually, they took a picture of a nerve cell, and guess what? It looks like the galaxy. It's incredible. It's like magnificent. It's like, wow. God is wow. So, our universe with the totality of the universe. So that's another unification there. You can become one with nature, with our Father Sky, with our Mother Earth, and feel yourself unified with our elements, right? Which we are made of as well. We don't want to talk about religion in yoga. Not sometimes talking about God can be a little tricky again because everyone has a different interpretation of what is God. But ultimately, and now that we are in a more intensive training, yoga is union with God. Yeah, that's it. Yoga is a communion. You don't want to say the word God. You are again in a Christian, Jewish community. You can say yoga is the union with the source. Yoga is union with the divine being. Whatever is that being for you. It might be Buddha, it might be Jesus, it might be Krishna. That is yoga. You see, again, it doesn't really make any reference to
About the
asanas.
spirits.
Huh?
About, you say, instead of saying God, you say spirits. Does it mean-
Yeah.
Yes, I think.
Holy Spirit. Divine Spirit.
What about universe?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. Micro-universe, macro-universe. Yeah. All that is perfect. But let me tell you, I got one of my, so we always teach it like that because it's an easier grasp. So I want to become unified within the layers of my mind, and I want to become unified with the source that hold this world up. That is correct, but it's also incorrect in a way. Again, I have many teachers through different years. We've been studying this book for 10 years. And so one of my teachers from Shivananda Ashram, he said yoga is the detachment, or you can say the separation of things that you think they are real. So do we want to unify with the mind? Probably not. You see, he gave a whole different perspective. So I'm trying to give you the different views. So in any way, he said, well, actually yoga is not a union with the mind, because part of the mind is the ego. And the ego is one of the layers that we really need to pacify. It's like a little, you know, if it's out of control, it's like a little devil, literally, you know. The mind can make people sick, right? So as a technique, in India, you can write this, called neti neti. Neti neti. So neti neti translates to not this, not that. So you start becoming unified with your real essence, negating what you are not. I am not the mind. I am not just a physical body. I am definitely not my emotions. Happy, sad, no sé quién es. It's an elevator of emotions up and down. So you start, so instead saying that yoga is unification with everything, it's also at the same time a separation. Now, I'm not my body. I'm not my ego. I am not my trauma. I am not my loneliness. I am not my depression. You see? So that it's like two teachings in one. So I need to give you the two of them, because again, I got the two of them, so you understand a little bit of what they're trying to say with that teaching, right? So we do want to go back to the source, but understanding what we are not, right? If we are obsessed with the body, which again, you know, now that's another thing, you know. We see teenagers, they're 15 years old, perfect chest, but guess what? They got new chests from birthday. Here, you know, plastic, you know, or now they're putting fake lips, fake nose, fake chest, fake butt, or you spend hours and hours in the gym making body so beautiful and so nice. You're going to get old anyway. So I got it all. You know, no matter how much you put it up, it's going to come down. You know? So identifying who we really are with things that are not real in this yoga philosophy is going to always lead to suffering. You know, so I am not my body. You know, I am eternal soul. The body is just my clothes from this life. You know, this is concepts that we need to chew, because if you understand this, you can deal with death much easier. You know, it's not the end. It's a door to another life. You will, guess what? You will reincarnate. You will get the same slaps until you learn your lessons. Whatever lessons that you're not understanding, you're gonna come back, repeat that karma again, you know. And so neti neti, I'm not my emotions, I'm not all this fiery passion, I'm not this depression, I'm not this loneliness. Because your true identity, you can also write this, is called Sat Chit Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So that's going to be yoga in yoga philosophy, but you can just write it down now. So Sat Chit Ananda is your real identity, and it translates, yeah, S-A-T, like the name of the Guru here, and then C-H-I-D, and then Ananda. Ananda. So Sat Chitananda means pure knowledge, eternal, and full of love. Ananda. Ananda means bliss, happiness, joy. Sat is truth, is understanding, is knowledge. So who we are, all of us, all beings, any beings that has life, has a soul. The soul is made of these components. All souls are Sat, Chit, Ananda. That's who we really are. And we have an Atman. Atman is the mini soul of God. Atman. Atman. A-T-M-A-N. Atman. So the soul of God is like taking a drop of the ocean. That Atman is in your heart. And that is the soul of God. So they say that God is in your heart. So it's like taking a drop of the ocean and say that that is not water. That's not true. No matter if it's just one tiny drop of the ocean, it's still the ocean. It's still that same component. The soul of God, or God, in Hinduism they have many names, but one of them is Brahma. Brahman is the creator. So Brahman, Atman. So God and Atman is the same. Okay? And we need to neti. I'm not my ego, I'm not my body, I'm not this pretty face, I'm not female, I'm not male. To peel all these layers of illusion so we can get to Atman. So we can get deep down to who we really are. What we really are? Full of knowledge, full of happiness and bliss, and eternal. We don't die. We just go life after life, learning until we get it. Everyone has an individual path. No one can interfere in no one. And that's the other thing. I took 5 years to understand that. You know. But so now, okay, so you know who you are. You know, sometimes you have a very good yoga class and you got bliss out and it's the yoga glow. You know, you're like, oh my God, that Atman, that Ananda is coming off your pores. You feel like so happy, connected, like, oh my God, like I feel God, I feel goosebumps, you know, I feel angelical presence, right? How you feel that, remember? Hope so. Hope so. You will, hopefully. But when we don't feel like that, when we do feel anxiety, depression, loneliness, confusion, exhaustion, is because we are not identifying with our true essence. Because, you know, basically our modern life. I am my body. I am this, I am that, you know, and those ups and downs, and then we just forget. No nos olvidamos de quién somos, no? We're like, oops. And then here comes the yoga, here comes the meditation, Here comes the self-introversion. Okay, I am complete. I am holy. I'm grateful. The universe has my back. God is within me. Everything is well. I am loved. Again, you become unified. You see? So you can go many times during the day with that. Sometimes it happens, you know, like you're super connected in the morning and then in the evening, oops. So that's why the practice is there. The sadhana is there. You know, and that's another thing that you can write, and maybe I finish with this today. You don't need to become enlightened. You are enlightened. You are the light of God. All the power of the sun is inside you. We just forgot. We just been caught up in politics, TV, religion, and all these bills, and we just forgot. And through yoga practices, plant medicine, different tools, we can remember, oh, wait a minute, I am connected with everyone. I am that source of life. God is walking, talking through me. So we just need to remember who you are. Sat, Chit, Anand. Okay? So let's bring the hands together. And let's, together, we'll lift each other up. And together, we'll help each other to remember who we are truly and what we're doing here. So let's finish with one mantra on this first day, inhaling. Namaste. Thank you. Successful recording. For the